The perfect super yacht is nothing without great crew. But what does it take to create the ultimate service experience for the owner and guests? Today we look into trends in training, ways to select quality crew, how to benefit from diversity and create career opportunities to entice millennials to step on board. And of course we want to have a peek behind the scenes to see what really goes on below deck. I'm Charlotte Kahn and welcome to Yacht Talk by Heesen. My guests for this show are Erik Smit, the operations manager at crew training company Luxury Hospitality Management. Erik is joined by Deborah Viger, who has worked as a chief stewardess on multiple super yachts, including the 55-meter Heesen Soulmates. And my third guest is Edouard de Maillé, co-founder of yacht management agency Edmar International. Well, hello everyone and welcome to the show. Erik, you are operations manager and trainer at one of the world's most renowned crew training institutes in the yachting industry. Selecting the perfect crew is your speciality. So to demonstrate how that works, you've asked everyone at this table, including me, to take your talent dynamics test. And we are all, I'm sure, very anxious to find out what it's all about and who we really are. So take us through the results.
Well, the essence of it is to focus on talents, as it's in the name. I think until 10 years ago, if you were not good at something, you would be sent to a training. So you're good at everything, but that you need to learn, so off you go. So the motivation to do that training was very low. We like to look at where people's talents are, to see where they give the most value. And if you look in a team, all these different talents hopefully are there, and together you can perform at your best. So there's 4 different energies that we see. The top one is not the first one, I should say, otherwise people think it's the best one. The first one is on the top, which is the creator, which is the dynamo energy. This is all about creativity, coming up with new ideas, always thinking and starting questions with what. Then we have the blaze energy on the right, which is all people-focused. Charlotte, you're a perfect combination of these two. You have almost a 50-50 percentage of both. We call that a star, perfectly suitable for a presenter. Perfectly talented to focus on people and to put a spotlight on them, both on yourself and on other people. So you couldn't be more suitable in your job. And I can imagine that doing your job never costs any energy. You'll get energized from doing your job.
You're dead right.
Then Edouard is quite opposite. He has a lot of steel energy and he has a lot of tempo energy. So it's all about procedures, about to-do lists, about being strict, being orderly. That's a very important role. So if you two were in a team together, you would really complement each other.
Good.
Maybe on a personal level, you would be a bit stranger. Sorry, a bit diverted from each other, because she's always talking about people and about what are we going to do now, and you think, no, but I want to stay here. But if you work together as a team, you complement each other completely. So it's a great match.
Let's start a business.
Exactly.
Yeah. Definitely. And then we have Deborah, who is, I know it's not a nice thing to hear, but you're quite a square in your graph. Meaning that you have...
I've been called worse.
Meaning you have a bit of everything. So perfect in a role to oversee stuff, to really connect with everyone in your team. So your role as a chief stewardess is great. If you have all the different energies in your team, you're the one to connect it all. Maybe when you were reading through the profile that we sent you, you felt that some of it would apply and some of it wouldn't, and that's exactly how you would feel with the different energies. So you have some of it, but not all of it.
It's interesting because when I do hire a team, I do try to fill in all of those, what would I call
criteria?
it? Criteria, yeah,
yes.
Because I know that my ultimate strength is none of them.
Yes, yeah.
But sort of being
you're the combined
the
version
maestro,
of all of
if
them.
you will,
Yeah.
And orchestrating it is, I think, where I do find the passion. and the drive. So yeah, it's very interesting to see.
You know, it's a great thing to start with. We like to use it on all our trainings as the first session we do, to open everyone up, and to take anything that we train afterwards. This could be in service, in housekeeping, cigars, mixology. This could be in leadership. To take that essence of everyone's character, professional character, into the training, to really blend the team like that. And in finding new crew, if someone leaves and you need to replace them, it's good to look at where your gaps are. So maybe to add someone who has specifically that energy.
It's positive psychology. Deborah, you wanted to add something?
You mentioned when you do your training, so is a lot of your training actually going on board or to an estate and training the crew or the team that's already in place?
Yes, we travel a lot. We go on board in their own surrounding, in their own work environment, whether that's on board or in a private estate. That's what we prefer to do, but of course we changed a lot over the last period to do a lot online. And especially our mixology is very popular at the moment to do online.
Right.
Okay. Speaking of which, you have a surprise for us, Erik,
Yes.
haven't you?
We thought talk is great, but to show some real life action. So therefore we brought Rob, our mixologist specialist trainer. He trains in other fields as well, but that's his true specialty. And together we looked at the profiles. And from taking a bit of a deeper dive in everyone at the table, he selected the perfect drink for you, hopefully,
wow.
based on that. So before having met you, he already created some drinks. He's very busy preparing them at the moment.
Yeah, I'm mesmerised by his performance, actually, and that's what it's all about. It's actually not just mixing cocktails, actually.
No.
Yeah,
But that's
performance arts, almost.
exactly.
Very theatrical. Interesting, cool, but can't wait to find out what we should be drinking or will
Yep.
enjoy later on in the show. Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so that's something to look forward to. Thank you very much, Rob. We'll see you later on in the show. Now, with luxury hospitality management, Erik, you operate in the top segment of the industry. So who are your clients? I'm not asking for names necessarily, but what type of people are they?
These are super yacht owners, and I think if you look at our client base, most yachts are over 50 meters, so 50 to 160 meters. And we tend to do more and more private estates. Edouard shared that he started with private estates and then moved to yachts, and with us it's the other way around. So we've trained and worked with all the teams on board, build rapport with the owners, with the management company, and they more and more invite us to get involved in the private estates as well.
So what are your clients looking for?
I think our clients are looking for people who deliver service without it looking like service. So people who are focused on the people on board, having a smooth operation. We truly feel that building a yacht is one, but the people on board, and especially the crew, make it come alive.
Because I was going to ask you about the highest level of service you can actually attain with crew. And you've mentioned something that feels, something that flows, something that is seamless. That's basically the highest level of service, isn't it?
Yes. When you apply service and you receive service and it doesn't feel like it's orchestrated or it's that something people need to take an effort for. It has to feel like warm and natural, and there's always a distinction between formal and informal service, and in my view formal service is when you're not comfortable, also as a server.
No.
You can have formal dinners, so a very nice setup and silver service and everything, but still have warmth and personal attention. And it doesn't mean that you need to chit-chat around the table, but it's about giving your energy to people. And you can only do that once you're, we call it liberated from ignorance, as in you know what you're doing, you know how to do it, you know when to do it, you know what your team is doing because you did some teamwork together. And before the service starts, you think like, oh yes, we're gonna rock them, instead of, ooh, I'm not sure what's happening.
I have one of my owners the other day said, the lady said she was really happy because her chief stewardess could anticipate when she wanted a coffee, for example, you know, which is exactly what we're looking for. And that's what the ultimate service is we anticipate everything, or at least the crew on board and us as back office, because I consider myself as that.
We sometimes say the ultimate goal is comforting dominance. in a service-orientated way. So make sure that everything is there. You make people as comfortable as possible, but you're basically taking ownership as crew of their leisure. And they can feel it and they can relax. They know, I'm here, I'm on board, I can just do what I want, I'll get my coffee when they know I want my coffee, and that's it. Instead of owners or guests constantly busy with service and asking for stuff, and it should be a flow.
I completely agree, and I think if we can anticipate what somebody may want, it also makes our job a lot easier. Because if somebody is bored and idle, they'll get antsy, and that energy can become a bit frustrated. Whereas if we make sure that the guests are always provided with some form of comfort or entertainment, then really we are orchestrating or controlling their mood to an extent.
With dramatized television series such as Below Deck, the general public gets a distorted view of an intriguing world. So to get a glimpse of the real thing, we had the chance to film the crew of Heesen yacht Irisha in 2018. Enjoy. So Deborah, you have been a chief stewardess on 8 super yachts, and you have devoted a large part of your career to crew life. It's a lifestyle, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It does take over your life when you're on board. You live on board, so you work with the crew, you live with the crew, you share ups and downs with the crew, and the owners and guests. For one season, I did have live aboard owners, so for 6 months straight, we had guests on board, 2 dogs, and a full changing complement of guests. And as challenging as that is, because it is a really solid block of time, you do have these really amazing moments that you get to share with the owners and crew alike, because you really do share a bubble.
Yeah. Is that what makes it really appealing for you? This shared experience, this common experience, being like a big family, really, when you think about it.
It is like a family, yeah, a moving family. So I think it's a version of the gypsies,
When you brief youngsters, when they join the industry, or someone who joins you on board for the first time, for that first experience, how do you brief them? What do you tell them? This is what you can do. Do not ever do this or that.
Do remember that you're on a boat and that you're always on a boat. So never let that escape your mind. Safety and security are always at the forefront of what we do and how we do things. I think that's one of the biggest challenges for new crew to understand, to wrap their head around, is that even though we're not on, it's still a boat. Safety and security is a huge concern, or it can be. Boats can sink, so quickly, and you go through a week of training at first to get your certification to be able to work on yachts, but then actually remembering that on a daily basis is, I find, one of the biggest challenges to sort of get crew to focus on and remember.
Deborah, what do you think is the secret to a crew running like clockwork?
Communication.
Communication.
Yeah. Lack of communication can kill a boat. I've experienced that.
So do you organize regular briefings, for instance, or?
Definitely. Communication is a constant thing among everybody, and I think, as you said, the hardest breakdown in a crew is lack of communication, whether it's from the captain to the crew, from the chief stew to her team, or vice versa, from her team to herself or neglecting to keep the chef in the loop, if you will. Communication is a constant thing, whether it's on the radios or face-to-face or logbooks as well. You'll see on Below Deck, the late night girl will leave a note for the early morning girl of, you know, how the night ended up, because really we need to be aware for service, but also the safety and security of where guests are. And
I think it's, you know, being on a boat is being active 24/7. Obviously not for one person, but that's why there's many people on board, is to keep the rotation going and have a 24/7, you know, active service. Whether it's for the safety, organization, and communication, as you said, is crucial, because anything that happens needs to be spotted, fixed, and followed, you know? You cannot just ignore something. You need to be on point at all times. And if you don't have communication, that's just impossible.
Okay. Now, Deborah, what's the big difference between being a crew member on the charter yacht compared to private, for instance?
well, some private owners won't make you feel like there's any difference at all. But generally, people coming or booking a charter are only coming for a vacation or a holiday. So it's typically a little bit more of a blowout, if you will. They will be early risers and late going to bed, whereas most private yachts, the ones that I've had the fortunate experience to work on, have been more of a, it's a holiday from life. You know, a lot of yacht owners are very successful, and they're successful because they work very hard, and they come to the yacht to relax, to unwind. So early nights, late mornings, you know, a little bit more of a chill atmosphere.
What would you like to change in this line of work, in your industry?
I believe that having more rotation would go a long way, and rotation being when you're on and then time off. I think that we all do tend to burn out and not recognize within ourselves that we're at that point. We work really hard for a long time, and then all of a sudden it hits us. But before it hits us, everybody around us really suffers. And there are some positions out there that have rotations. So you're, let's say, 2 months on, and then you have a month off to go and recharge your battery. I think that's what I would change most in this industry, is creating more rotation. And it creates more challenges.
It is very difficult to do that.
For lower ranks as well.
Yeah.
So for second or third stewardesses as well.
Yeah.
Just as you say, to recharge your battery, it's quite essential. You can't just keep going, no matter what age or job title you have, right?
And especially with, you know, with the state of things, I think now it's something that should be considered perhaps more, because a lot of crew are being confined on board, and a lot of crew are finding it very challenging mentally. Cabin fever, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really difficult. So
for the smooth operation of crew, yacht management is essential as the indispensable link between crew and owner. Edouard, it's your turn. Together with your business partner, you run yacht management agency Edmar International.
Yes.
Marcel?
No, those are actually both my business partner and I's initials put together. So, not Marcel.
Okay, got that one. Okay. And can you tell us how you got started in yacht management?
Well, actually, originally we started in the service sector, but more focused on staff, so service staff and household staff, because we saw there was a real gap in getting quality service at home. And from there, it evolved into the management of the estates, as we spoke with Erik, and the trust was built between the owners and ourselves. And therefore, from there, they asked us, they said, please, you know, we would like for you to, we want to give you our yacht into management as well, because we would like to keep this one point of contact. And once the trust is built, I think that's the key point. And that's what we're really happy about, is that we have the trust of our owners. And so we had this great opportunity of coming into this new industry for us. and working also with Heesen was a great experience, actually. And so, yeah, that's our path from the start.
Yeah. Now, you alluded to your work with Heesen.
Yes.
At the start of the pandemic, you were tasked with selecting crew for Project Electra. So how did it go?
It was challenging in the sense that we couldn't meet anyone, obviously. You know, we would have calls or CVs and, you know, Zoom calls, but I think a good crew, you need to get a personal feeling, especially the owners need to have that, you know, connection, because, well, you know, especially, again, depending if it's a private or a charter yacht, but it's very important to have the personal aspect. And no, it went quite smoothly between our personal selection and then crew. You know, the crew industry, it's a very big industry, so you can word of mouth can really be helpful in this case. But the real challenge was the fact that they couldn't even meet between each other before delivery, because we weren't allowed to travel.
Any mishaps when they finally met?
Well,
that you can share with us?
Not much that I can share, but obviously there were tensions, but there's a good and a bad aspect. The good aspect is that, you know, we had to deliver the boat. The owners were coming. We had no other option, so they were thrown into work, and work was the only priority. I mean, I was putting a lot of pressure as well on the captain, on the head of departments to make sure the boat was ready. And then I know that created some tensions because you're tired. And if you start tired, then you reach that point that you discussed earlier sooner. But no, at the end of the day, it went well, and the owners are happy, which is the only thing that really matters to us.
Absolutely. And what are owners looking for when selecting crew?
Well, I think first of all is someone who look well after their boat, especially for private owners. They're looking for, the owners always said to me, for the Project Electra, they said, we want someone who will look after the boat in a way that, you know, we want someone to look after their own home, you know. And then it's all about the different trends, but it's about their own personality. So I don't think it's more them telling us what they want. It's more about us as managers and representatives to get really a feeling of what they're looking for, and then introduce them the candidates that will fit, you know?
It's almost like moving to a different city or a different country and starting a new life. Yeah. And that's what you're starting, you're making new friends.
Yeah.
And together build that right energy on board, and that same feeling, that same rapport with each other.
Absolutely.
It's quite essential to have that done from the build onwards, to really take that step by step and really think about what people bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were discussing earlier as well, I think what's great is to bring in extra little activities from the crew. So whether it's a mixologist or whether it's, I don't know, a masseuse, or, you know, giving them, when introducing crew and selecting crew, giving them options of saying, oh, by the way, this person can also do this that is beyond the safety or the traditional service, you know, and that's what really makes them happy.
And I think in the same, or on the other side of the coin, I should say, for the crew member to know that they are being recognized for that gives them a little bit more of that pride and, you know, self-esteem boost, if you will. Whether it's for their mixology or whether they play guitar and might be called upon, or whether they're really good with lyrics or poems, you know, and they'll have to help create songs, or giving the people that little extra outlet of creativity or individuality is something that I've found works really well to release tension and create a better atmosphere.
I have a question about that, actually. So when you meet the owner and you introduce the crew, do you give them a sort of little brief about each one of them and what they're good at, not so good at, maybe how to manage them too, you know?
Well, no, I'm trying to, you know, obviously every owner wants to know who they're going to be interacting with on a daily basis on their boat. So we give them a background of, but the same way I give it to the crew, you know, it's important to give both aspects.
Yeah, of course.
I'm literally the middleman between owners and crew. So it's, yeah, of course, we give a little bit of a background to explain also what brought them to where they are. Why did they join the yachting industry, for example, or, you know, what passions, or, you know, different little aspects of each personality that will make them understand how the person is before they meet. Well, in this case, they literally met on delivery day. I mean, we couldn't do it earlier, but it's really, you know, it's really about making sure that everyone matches.
And when they don't, in situations of conflict, how do you handle it as the middleman?
So, for me, the owners should never be aware up until the very last minute if it's irreparable or unfixable. You know, owners, they ask me to ensure everything runs smoothly, and that is also for the conflicts. If I see there's a conflict on board, for example, my opinion is that you need to listen to every side of the story, you know, whether it's 9, 10, 14, 16, how many crew you have. You need to listen and analyze each and everyone's approach and understanding how or what or who or what behavior made that tension come up. And from there, try to fix it. It's again about the same spotting it, fixing it, and following it. Try to find where it comes from to fix it. But of course, sometimes it is too late because crew members also tend to keep it in to not, you know, bother. But sometimes it's best to communicate earlier to make sure that we can fix it. Because if we reach the no return point, then it's done. We have to change crew members, or we have to rearrange how people work on the boat.
I always like to approach frustration with the energy that comes from it. If you're frustrated, you're building up energy, and you can actually use that energy to solve it. So use that energy to talk to people or to, you know, really express it, instead of, you know, trying to keep it inside. But make it useful.
Now, we have almost come to the end of our show, but before we go, we'd like to ask you one more question. Okay? So if you were a super yacht owner, who would you select as your chief stewardess or steward?
Who should
Erik.
go first?
I'm happy that you asked me beforehand, so I could have a good think about it. We work with so many people in the industry, but there's one person that really sticks out. That's Renee Helmore. She's no longer a chief stewardess at the moment. She stepped up. So it's hypothetical, but just as hypothetical as me owning a super yacht. She is a very warm and sweet person, but that's just how she appears. But she's that comforting dominance that I spoke about earlier is really her. She listens, but then she makes her own plan and actually makes a guest follow suit in a very warm and friendly way. And this is what she trains now to other people in the fleet that she manages, and she's doing a great job.
Edouard.
So mine is actually a fictional character.
Oh.
That is called Mr. Carson. I don't know if you know who he is. He's the butler in the TV series Downton Abbey.
Okay.
Which is, for me, the definition of excellent service. But not only service, it's, again, about the anticipation and trust. And no matter what issue comes up, it will be fixed. You know, anything will come up, it will be fixed, and the owners won't know about it. And I think that's what a good head of department for interior, a chief stewardess or steward, is what is really about. You know, anticipating and making sure that the owner's just enjoying his holiday.
Mr. Carson. Okay. Deborah?
Well, as Erik said,
It's a tough one for you because I can say it for myself.
and the world would be a really different place if I was an owner.
Or you may have a twin.
I'd have to go with Alfred. Yeah, Batman's butler.
Oh, okay, another fictional character.
I'm okay with being bossed around a bit. Yeah, so I think I'd want the coin to be completely flipped, and I know that he would have his way. So.
Fantastic. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a little bit thirsty, and I'm very curious about what Rob has created for us. So, Rob, could you come and join us and tell us about our personalized drinks?
Alrighty, so cocktail number 1, Charlotte, is actually a inspired dish by the caprese salad, which I made for you. And this really is the liquid version of the drink. So the caprese liquida, meaning it's a gin, we got pepper in there, olive oil on top, which I infused with some lemon peel, the tomato on the side, and then the aromatic basil and thyme on the side. So here we have caprese liquida, fit your personality, because you like to combine and connect people. Cheers.
Wow, thank you very much, Rob. Yeah, Pretty good. Yeah, enjoying that one.
Next
I'm
one
learning.
up is for Deborah. This is a little drink containing passion fruit, pomegranates for the antioxidants. It's vodka based, but we like to combine different strengths, so there's very strong, overproof rum in there. We light it up. There you go, and then some cinnamon in there as well.
Wow.
Could you please help me out as a friend, as a colleague, and hand it through?
So,
That's really lovely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's accumulator time. Edouard,
My turn.
right for you here, we have a very special drink that suits your profile. With these classic drinks, it's super hard to get them properly balanced. It's all about the small, small details. That's why I'm using a very sticky dark rum and a light and bright light style rum in there. Two types of rum, two types of bitters. That's burnt or toasted walnuts and some chocolate bitters in there for length and complexity. And to finish it off, on the side we got some almond chocolate that really complements the old-fashioned style drink. Some perfume from the orange aroma. And last but not least, I'm going to charge your drink because sometimes people just need to blow off some steam.
Yes.
The treasure chest is now filled. My sir, this is yours.
Thank you very much.
yeah, it
Welcome.
really is a kind of a Pirates of the Caribbean drink, isn't it? Seriously?
Love it.
They really are creations, aren't they?
One moment.
Works of art.
Wow.
Yeah?
So good.
Well, now it's time for the drink of Erik, ladies and gentlemen. I've used a very classic, strong Scotch whiskey, sherry cask finish to give a little bit more fruity notes in there. But it's mainly Scotch whiskey. We have some aromatic bitters in there and some sugar syrup, which I made at home from what we use in Holland called pepernoten, which is basically a spice mix. Think of star anise, cardamom, cloves, cinnamon. Boil that with sugar water, that's in there. So pretty complex, you know what you drink. And Erik, it's ice cold.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Great.
Thank you, Rob.
Welcome.
Thank you
Enjoy.
very much.
Thank you.
Perfect. What I love about ice cold drinks is that you actually have two types of flavors. So the first flavor that comes to your mouth as it's ice cold, and then it warms up, and then different flavors pop up. It's like a bouquet of flowers, all close, and then suddenly, amazing.
Fantastic.
Very
well,
good.
cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Okay, now before we say goodbye, we want to leave you with our top 3 most interesting social media finds on fun things you can do on the water. Enjoy.
We can't stop it anyhow. It's not ours. Don't stop. That's tracks with the real hip hop. Today, the hop, you don't quit. Don't quit. That's tracks. Came to rip shit.
Thank you very much to all of you out there for watching. So keep safe and above all, keep yachting.